Hey everybody, welcome back to The Bridge. Last time we went pretty much most of the way through Chapter 2, completing the mausoleum. By the way, the date on the mausoleum was 1727, which, as I expected, was the year that Sir Isaac Newton died. The game makes several references to Isaac Newton, like this portrait you can see above me, where it has our good professor here, playing around with vortexes with Isaac Newton himself. Like the intro of the game, which I don't have on footage, but the intro of the game basically has you tilting the world so apples fall from a tree to wake you up. It's kind of an interesting little mechanic. I've never started a game like that before. Usually I have a, begin game screen. But yeah, assuming we just visited the mausoleum, we're now in Chapter 2, Scene, or Level 6, the Memorial. Even though it should be a memorial for Isaac Newton, however, we do have a large bust of the professor in the garden. And kind of an interesting area. We see like two gravestones on the right, what looks like a felled tree, and kind of a broken pillar. This level can be pretty tricky. In fact, I don't remember the answer right off the top of my head, but as you'll see, we have a dangling key, so we're gonna have to get that somehow. All right, let's see. I'm trying to remember how to get this key. I think I had to rotate this clockwise. I think I had to rotate clockwise to get the buttons so I could walk by. Yeah. Oh, and for some reason, for some reason, even if you're standing on top of the bust, you're not tall enough to catch the key. I've already tried that, and it didn't work. So I have to be really careful with my angles right here. I want the ball basically to fall but not kill me. Like that. That's exactly what I wanted. I'm actually happy with how that turned out. Now we have to flip ourselves around, I believe, just to get this key here. I'm trying to remember how I got it last time, but I'm going to assume it involved going this way. Yep, see, now that the key is dangling, we have it now just resting right there on top of the ceiling. How very quaint. We dash as quickly as an old man can dash over, grab the key to unlock the door, and now we end up with a very interesting and somewhat confusing game of juggling. Basically, if you remember what we did to the ball, we now have to do with ourselves. But luckily, it's far easier for us to direct how we land, because we are not a ball. The ball and I switch places again as I'm trapped in the vortex, and we basically juggle, for lack of a better word. Also, I really like whoever programmed in the menace, whoever programmed it to blink. I think that's just a great little detail they added in. Yeah, so there we go. That was the end of Chapter 2. I was really kind of hoping the memorial would have a little bit more of a reference to Isaac Newton, but oh well. That finishes Chapter 2. And here, just like at the end of Chapter 1, we have another bust of ourselves with a quote. "We're like children with a bottomless toy box, creating and exploring, limited only by our imaginations. We cast aside the theories of old and invent new ones beyond method of reason, our own world." And even though he has kind of like a modern-day college professor look, at least based on our, well, not modern-day, but kind of like an old guy who's a college professor kind of look, he somehow was able to, withstand, I guess, the aging process and be alive. Even though the house is kind of old and run down, walking between the impossible is easier than it seems. So we're gonna start World or Chapter 3 next. you don't need to do 2 and 3 in order, like I've said before. You also notice that there are these like little fireball things called wisps, and you'll notice, you'll notice that this frame is empty, and if you find wisps, it'll fill up pieces. I've found 2 of, I believe it's either 6 or 7 pieces to fill up the picture, but I've already seen what it looks like, which is basically just a really cool like painting of you in the garden with busts of Newton and yourself floating in the sky. I think there's like a menace or something falling apart or falling out of the sky or something. It's kind of cool, and it's kind of just this nice little Easter egg. Alright, so now we started chapter 3. We have what kind of looks like a portrait of our professor here, and it looks pretty old with this triangle-y thing. And this will be our first instance of inversions. Inversions are pretty cool, and I don't want to spoil it, but the white-haired version of our professor isn't old. He is old, but the white hair version of him is not old. It's more that it's just a different parallel world, as you'll soon see. Now, this is kind of a cool level because I don't have to do any rotation. With levels like this, you simply have to walk on curved surfaces, and they turn themselves. Now, this is kind of a pain in the butt in later levels, as you'll be able to see. Also, if you notice that door on the top right is white, and you'll have to go into, like, I guess you could call it the white dimension in order to go through that door. But you'll notice that now I'm the white professor, as opposed to, I guess you could call it the black professor. But yeah, simply walking through this door completes that level. Next up is the timepiece. There actually is an achievement for this level, which is completing the timepiece in under a minute. I might do a separate video where I try to do that, unless I can do that now. I don't really remember I don't really remember this level as much, but hopefully if we can complete it in under a minute, it'll count. This one's kind of cool. You notice the door is, I guess you could call it black, but the key is white. So we're going to have to invert a couple times. But luckily it's not too difficult here. I've already inverted once. And now I simply have to walk around. Oh, that one doesn't turn itself apparently. Narrowly dodged the ball there. Yeah, that was pretty easy. And see, I got the achievement Runner, which is for completing that level in only a minute. I think a minute is pretty generous, considering that was really easy. But you'll notice I'm not doing anything. The world is shaking, because we have to face the aftermath. I think I'll end the video here, and I'll pick up. So until next time, I'm Metagross Freak, and a puzzle till your puzzlers are sore. Bye.